Well, hello and welcome to Studio 10. Welcome back, Narelda.
Good morning.
Been busy.
It's going to be a really fun morning. I can't wait to get stuck into it.
I know. And Baz, thanks for still being here. Tristan is still recovering at home. We think he'll probably be back next week, so sending you all our love, Tristan.
Yep.
But we do have a very special guest to give us a bit of a giggle first thing this morning. Aussies love having a laugh at the expense of Americans, but Monty Franklin's built a booming career out of it. He's also been rubbing shoulders with some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Take a listen.
Teach Americans how to do an Australian accent. I'll need an American volunteer. You, sir, can I teach you how to do an Australian accent? I want you to read this in your American accent.
Rise up, lights.
Keep saying it.
Rise up, lights.
You are saying this in Australian.
Rise up, lights. Rise up, lights. Rise up, lights.
We get your dates over here. It is great to have you with us. Welcome, Monty Franklin.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, Rob Schneider.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You're a good mate.
Very good.
I was lucky enough to see you at the Comedy Store in Sydney last night. And, I've just got a quick question. Have you been home?
No, I'm wearing exactly the same outfit. No one's meant to see me twice. I've been going around the country and obviously no one's coming to 2 shows. I've only got one good outfit for the stage.
Well, we're pleased you put it on for us today. We feel a bit special. You've been performing shows all around Australia. What have the audiences been like? Because you haven't been here for about 7 years, have you?
I haven't. I mean, I've been here, but I haven't performed in about 7 years. And I got to tell you, it's so great to be home. It feels like I'm performing for family. I want to hug everyone in the audience. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I've missed our culture and our people and our chicken parmesanas so much. And being back has been so great, so fantastic. And we all went through such a hard last few years and stuff. And to be honest, I was worried that the Australia I knew and I loved maybe wouldn't be there. But I'm telling you, it's alive and well and just sexy as ever. It's so great. It's so great.
So you've been taking Australia to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You bumped into, well, we got to share a stage with John Cleese too while you've been here.
Monday.
How was that?
Oh, I mean, I've had a few moments in my career that have been exceptional. I got to do the Sydney Opera House with Rob Schneider a few years ago. And on Monday, I've been lucky enough to call John a friend for a few years, and I can tell you why in a second. But
nice name drop.
I know, a little bit.
Very good.
But he was doing Hamer Hall in Melbourne. That's a big deal to me. I grew up in Melbourne, so that's where we would do speech nights and stuff like that. So he said to me...
I think we've got a look. You want to have a look?
Oh, yeah,
I think we've got it.
It is my honour and my privilege now to introduce someone that I am very glad to call a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Cleese.
Well, that was very nice because I owe it to Monty to let him open for me because I made his life a misery. All the time he was at school, he was always called Python.
That was a good clip at the end, wasn't it?
Great stuff.
What was
Professional.
it like? What was it like?
It was the greatest. I didn't know I was performing. So John said to me about 5 minutes, he said, "This is your hometown. Why don't you go out there and bring me onto stage?" And I was like, oh, amazing. So I did 15 minutes and I got to bring on arguably the greatest living comedian on the planet out to my home crowd of a full Hamer Hall. It was it's just some great experiences that I've got to have in my career, and that was a highlight.
Wow.
What did that do for your street cred at home then?
Well, for the older generations, a lot. For the younger,
Great to reflect on that, but you've been on stages all over the world. Is there any topics that you have to steer clear of when you're going from stage to stage?
No, you just kind of keep wary of who your audience is. I've been to Florida. The audiences are very old. I'm not going to talk about Instagram and TikTok because they don't care.
Yeah.
But there's no topics that are taboo in comedy. You just have to be funny. Just be funny. As long as you are making light and not, hurting anyone, then you should... That's our job as comedians, is to make funny from the hard. And if you can do that well, then you're doing well. But if you're just doing it for the fact of getting a reaction for someone, then that's not funny.
So the accents aren't the only thing that you're taking over to America to teach them about. It's also you're teaching people about how to come up with nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
What's your theory?
I didn't know that it was such an interesting thing. In Australia, we nickname everything.
Yeah.
And particularly each other. And they generally progress. It's kind of like naming your pets. Just over time, they just evolve into the most ridiculous things. I think... I was trying to teach everyone that basically the easiest way is to just put a Y at the end of your last name. So, like, Tom Hanks is just Hanksy.
Yeah.
And then like Serena Williams is Willow. That's an O at the end. But it's hard to explain. But then the advanced nicknames is when it gets hard. That's when other factors come in and stupidity. And because we're all larrikins here in Australia, your name ends up something vastly different. Like my name's Monty Franklin. I get Burnsy a lot because of Monty Burns from The Simpsons. So that evolved to that after time.
Yeah.
So that's a very Australian thing to have these nicknames, and I gave them out to a bunch of Americans and they seem to enjoy it.
Did you ever get called Python?
Yes, I did. A lot of the time. And that was one of the things that John really loved, that I said, I was called Python for most of my school life.
Terrific. No, something else that's very exciting in your life is the fact you've got a big announcement about a film that you're working on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that all stems from the John Cleese thing. So I'll tell you guys, we're making a film in Western Australia. I wrote a film with John Cleese, Rob Schneider, and I'll tell you what the premise of the story is. So this is a true historical event in our history that a lot of people might not know about and the world needs to know. So in 1932, the Australian government went to war with the emus. I don't know if you knew this. There was 20,000 emus running through... Oh, don't feel sorry for them, wait.
Okay.
So there's 20,000 birds running through the outback in Western Australia. So the army came in with, like, machine guns and went to war with the emus. And this is the best... I'm not making this up. Look it up. We lost. The emus were too fast. They ran circles around the army. They blew up a truck trying to get to them. They broke guns, everything. The whole thing was a hilarious farce. So myself, Rob Schneider and John Cleese, I mean, I was lucky enough to... I was in a house in Arizona with these two guys for about 6 weeks. Jim Jeffries, great Australian comedian. He came in, helped us write. We've got Rhys Darby. He's a Kiwi and he's hilarious and fantastic. We've got some other really great people that I can't announce yet, but we are filming in Perth at the beginning of next year. So the Great Emu War, it's going to be what I know it's just going to be a proud and really heartfelt film that Australia is going to love and the rest of the world is going to just fall in love with us all over again. It's a Crocodile Dundee, Babe-like, just family-friendly, just really fun comedy. I mean, you can imagine with Rob Schneider and John Cleese and myself and Jim Jeffries, there's about 180 years of comedy there between us. So it's going to be fun.
What if they call them emus?
Oh, it annoys me so much. You know what? And they pointed out to me, they go, oh, you mean emu? And I go, no, that's my bird. It's like going to France and saying, oh, it's croissant, not croissant. No, that's how they pronounce it. I have to tell them it's mew, like museum, emu. It's very hard.
You've been working with Joe Rogan, who's, you know, not shy of a controversy here and there. What's it like working with Joe Rogan, the
Rogan's
very
one
famous
of the
podcaster?
loveliest people I've met on the planet. He is a down-to-earth, grounded individual. He's been a mentor of mine for years. He is encouraging for all comedians that if he sees that you are trying hard and doing well, he brings you into his fold. He called me 2 weeks ago and spoke on the phone for an hour. An hour of his time is worth a lot of money.
Because his podcasts go for 3 hours.
I did his podcast. We did a 3-hour thing, but he just called me to talk about comedy and how I'm feeling and how I'm progressing and stuff like that. So to have people like that, and again, this is just name dropping, isn't it? But to have people like this in my corner when I'm in an industry that you guys know all facets of entertainment are very difficult. But to have some of these heavy hitters in my corner, that it's very, very encouraging. So,
powerful.
yeah, he's fantastic. Fantastic.
Just your mates Joe and John.
I know.
Rob.
Or Cleese and Rosie.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks for lowering your standards and hanging with us. Okay?
Exactly.
We really appreciate it.
I didn't even change. I just wore the same
we get it.
clothes.
Hey, thanks for the big scoop. That is great. We love hearing about
Oh,
Australian
yeah,
movies
I'll
being
tell
made
you guys
too.
more about it as we're progressing and going
And I'd
along.
like a set visit, please.
Oh, yeah, you can all play emus. It's going to be great.
One thing I know, we can't run backwards, right?
That's
Emus
right.
can't
That's
run
it.
backwards.
That's it. I've told a lot of Americans that. The coat of arms.
That's it.
It's a great
Don't
one.
take it backwards, Steph.
If you want to catch more of Monty, you can catch him tomorrow night and Saturday night in Melbourne, and you can visit his website, montyfranklin.com, for the details. Plus, he's all over social medias for you young'uns not from Florida, and he will give you a giggle long into the night if you're scrolling in bed. There you go. Monty, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I really
Monty.
appreciate
That was
it.
great.
Good fun.